Okay guys, in this video, I will consider something that's more gossip than anything else, because it was. And it's believable. The reason why it's believable, well, you guys already know. If all those things happen to me, as I know happened to me, because again, all those experiences that I mentioned in my videos, most of them were things that actually happened to me directly, things I heard, things I saw with my own eyes. And it's a lot. Again, it's a lot, and you guys know it's a lot. It's a lot of toxicity, particularly of the hanky-panky nature. So that leads me to believe that this, what I'm about to say, which is more gossip than anything else, is also believable. Again, it's also believable. And this was told to me by people that have been there for many years. I remember one of the people that mentioned this was Anna from, she retired from the law library. She liked to talk a lot. Believe me, she told me a lot of things before she retired. She retired many years ago. Maybe like 6-7 years ago. But she mentioned, oh, and her sidekick also confirmed it. But what she told me, again, does not surprise me because I've seen a lot. She mentioned that there was a female manager, which I believe is still there. This is in U.S. District Court. She's a manager. And she told me that she used, well, I don't want to say too much because I don't want her to be easily identifiable. But let's just say that she had a intimate relationship with a judge. I'll give you the judge's first name, Jose. Obviously, it's not me. I'm not a judge. I was the IT guy. That judge had to leave for very similar reasons. But according to Anna, again, the law library lady that retired roughly around 6-7 years ago, she had a very, very, very intimate relationship with that judge. And that judge was the one that put her in that position of supervisory. And she's still there. This female, obviously she's an older female. I believe she might be over 60. She looks good for her age, especially physically, her body. You can easily see that when she was young, she had a phenomenal body. To the point that I remember a few years ago, well, not a few, maybe like 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, she was in our area asking questions, and a group of the IT guys were there. And when she walked away, again, her behind is pretty formidable, very abundant, and there was no modesty in how she was wearing her clothing. So once she turned around, she said thank you, and she turned around and walked away. One of the computer admins, started to shake his hands up and down, imitating how her butt cheeks were shaking as she left. That's how well built this female is. And again, I'm pretty sure she's in her 60s. But again, she looks physically good for her age. The point here again is, this is pure rumor in this case, pure rumor. It comes from a very reputable source. I don't know if she's respectable, even though she was the manager of the law library at the time. Her and her sidekick confirmed that, yeah, that's how that particular female reached that position. And again, this is something interesting that I want to also point out as a side note. Does the Me Too movement condemn women that use sex to move up the ladder? Does the Me Too movement do that? Do they point that out? Or do they only point out when the guy helps the female go up the ladder. Do you guys see where I'm coming from? Because I understand that, yes, there's been a lot of men that have done bad, that, do them a favor, hanky-panky, and he will give you a position. That's wrong. But it should also be wrong when you accept the position as a female. So it should be equally wrong. So my question is, again, does the Me Too movement condemn these women for doing that? I've never, ever heard a cinch of any of that. Me Too should condemn women that do these things. Now, whether this story is true or not, because again, I was not there at the time. I did not see it with my own eyes. This is somebody reputable telling me this. Again, Ana, the previous manager of the law library in U.S. District Court of Puerto Rico. Obviously, the law library or the library is not part of U.S. District or probation. It's an entity apart, but we still gave them support. My point is, again, we always demonize only when guys are part of the game. But when a woman is part of the game and benefits from it, nobody's holding the female accountable. Here's another question. Here's a question for human resources. Since they are so supposedly moral and monitor all these activities at that federal building, what did you guys do when that rumor came out? Because I'm pretty sure that rumor ran like wildfire, like every other rumor runs around like wildfire. Did you guys investigate this? Again, did human resources investigate to see if Judge Jose and this female had a very intimate relationship, and that, I mean, there's got to be a record somewhere where he mentioned, I want this person there. There's got to be a record somewhere. Maybe old records from previous HR, because again, supposedly this happened clearly over 13 years ago, before I got there. But the question is, again, where's human resources when it comes to when women use hanky-panky to go up the ladder? Not just when men use hanky-panky to offer a female such a good position. No pun intended. So once again, I have to point that out clearly. The double standards that we have here. Human resources are a failure. They are a failure. And I believe they are a failure not just there, in many places, when they let ideology guide their blindness to so-called morality and proper conduct and proper behavior, etc. I have never, ever, ever heard of women, feminists, members of Me Too or any other group. I've never heard them say anything to condemn women that accept those types of bribes or that type of misbehavior from men. Yes, condemn men when they do that, but also condemn women when they also accept that game. And these are the same women that sometimes they play the game, they benefit from it, and then maybe years later, then they might complain. And then say that he used me. No, you used him as well. Again, you, the female, also used him to advance into that position. And I know who she is. I don't want to mention her name because, again, this is more gossip than anything else. And I heard a third person also mention this to me. But again, the point is that this is a very sad reality. I created previous video, nepotism, where I believe the same thing happened between Aida Delgado and Antion Georgi. I think the same thing, very similar, happened. Of course, they did it under the guise of DEI, but it's still ethically and morally wrong. And I mentioned their names because I worked there when this happened, and everybody knows that they've had, I don't know if they're still together, but they had a very intimate relationship. The point is, why does HR suck so much? And why so much inconsistency when it comes to this issue? Why? It's a shame, honestly, it's a shame. It's a great shame that this happens. And these people are not held accountable. The image went away, but it doesn't matter. You guys have an idea of what I'm talking about. And you guys probably know who I'm talking about. Again, federal employees or ex-federal employees should not be watching my videos because I want you to keep that holy image of that place you worked for. But at the same time, I think toxicity needs to be pointed out for all sexes. In this case, even the gay community. And to be consistent, morally consistent, ethically consistent, let's not just hold the guys accountable. When they use hanky-panky and offer a female a higher position if you do this or that type of naughty favor. Well, the one that's accepting such a bribe or such an offer should also be held accountable for accepting it and condemned and, judged and even fired. Because again, what message does that send out to every other person out there? Not a good one at all. That's your district quote for you of Puerto Rico people. Till next time.